Kiralee runs a small organisation with 1.6 FTE, and she's saying that she's found it hard to manage the board's expectations around what we can actually do in reality versus what we should be doing or what they should be doing. Have I got that right, Kiralee? Just give me a little thumbs up in terms of if that's the question that we want to pose here today. Just waiting for Kiralee just to what the board should be doing. Okay, all right. So what we're actually doing in reality and what we should be doing. Okay. Does that make sense, Jodie?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Kiralee. Great question. So I think I'd always go back to first principles. I'm a big fan of reading constitutions. I know that sounds completely, geeky, but the constitution's your guiding document that sets out what are the roles of directors, what are their responsibilities, and then, what's management's responsibilities in a very general way, but and who can make decisions and who's accountable for what. So that to me is sort of your foundation. Dust it off, go and find it. If you haven't got the most up-to-date one, you might find that it needs to be updated, like in Western Australia, by June of next year. All constitutions need to be updated for incorporated associations. That happened in Victoria a number of years ago. So constitution, have a look at that. It may even need updating, especially if there might have been decisions made by the board that now need to be delegated to an executive officer. So the next thing I would look at is even delegations of authority. So from the constitution, you sort of take more information out, and then who's accountable for what and what decisions in a very simple document. And that's a very elegant way to be able to say to the board, well, actually, you need to be sticking to your knitting. This is what I need to be doing. And this is the document that you've signed off on. And then the third thing would be really about your strategy. So often board directors are very well-meaning. The ideas that they come up with shouldn't necessarily be shunned or shut down just because you've got too much work on your plate. So what we have to think about is, okay, well, how does this fit into our strategy? If the question is, okay, our strategic plan doesn't really help us a lot, well, maybe that's the next piece of work. To have a really good strategy that the board are involved in developing and shaping, and that everything the organisation does, everything the board does, relates to the strategy, so that you don't come to a board meeting with all sorts of wish lists of things. I call them, the pet projects. And sometimes they keep rearing their head because they don't fit anywhere. So you've either got to knock it on the head or you've got to find a spot. And the fourth part would really be about having those courageous and respectful conversations that help define people's expectations. I had a board director once who worked for a very big for-profit consulting company. When you went to his office, they had people coming and offering you making tea and coffee and all sorts of great things. When he came to mine, I'd make it for him as the CEO. And his expectations were far beyond, because that was the environment he was used to. So for him, I had to sort of help him understand that, what resources we do have, but not be negative about it and sort of have a scarcity mentality. Sometimes people are resistant because they're overwhelmed. How can we push through that and say, okay, maybe there's some possibilities here. How else could we do it? And help people understand that, it might be a great idea, but it's something we need to consider later. Or asking the question, so how could you help make that happen?